Hello friends, I'm Mksrinivas here on a seminar on revocation, e-contracts and temporary injunction. I'm going ahead with revocation, wherein I have divided revocation into two parts, that is revocation of an offer and revocation of an acceptance. Now I am presenting you a graphical representation of revocation, wherein it is depicted that A makes an offer to B on 10th March 19. It will be received by B on 12th March 19. In between, a communication of offer on 11th March reaches the B, that is offeree, on 12th March 19. In such case, the revocation is complete, and the completion of notice of revocation of an offer is also valid. Now A has got the time limit from 10th March 19 to 13th March 1 p.m. wherein B accepts his acceptance on 13th March 1 p.m. and before that the offerer can revoke his offer. See, so far as acceptance is concerned, the time limit to revocation of acceptance is nothing but the acceptor, that is on 13th March 1 p.m. he sends a acceptance letter. It will be reached the acceptee, that is one who offerer, on 15th March 3 p.m. So, a revocation of an acceptance can be done from 13th March 19 to 15th March 19 by a speedier mode of communication. The offerer said to have received the communication of notice of revocation of acceptance as by a speedier mode of communication. Now, revocation of acceptance according to English law. An acceptance once made is irrevocable. In other words, Anson says that acceptance is to offer what a lighted match is to a train of gunpowder. Both do something which cannot be undone. This rule is obviously confined in its operation only to postal acceptance. It is suggested in Anson that in other cases, an acceptance can be revoked at any time before acceptance is complete, provided of course that the revocation itself is communicated before the acceptance arrives by a speedier mode. You can take it like that. In India, on the other hand, acceptance is generally revocable. An acceptor may cancel his acceptance by a speedier mode of communication, which will reach easier than the acceptance itself. Section 5 of the Indian Contract Act has a relevant provision. It goes like this: an acceptance may be revoked at any time before the communication of the acceptance is complete against the acceptor, but not afterwards. So this we have to understand that the communication of acceptance should reach the acceptor and it should be posted by him. Thus, the communication of revocation should reach earlier than the acceptance itself. What will be the result if they reach together? The section does not make this point clear, but one illustration appended to this section seems to be show that such a case also acceptance will be deemed to have been revoked. The illustration is as follows. See, A proposes by letter sent by post to sell his house to B. B accepts the proposal by a letter sent by the post. Then B may revoke his acceptance at any time before or at the moment when the letter communicating it reaches A, but not afterwards. So, the letter of communication regarding the revocation of acceptance is very important, and in this case we can take it by a speedier mode it reaches. Then a case law is that is Dunmore versus Alexander. A proposal of service made by a letter was sent through an agent. The agent received by the acceptance and forwarded it to the principal. But the principal was away that day. The next day, the agent received the revocation and forwarded it to the principal, who received the two letters together. The revocation was held to be effective. The court saying that the admission that the two letters were received together puts an end to the case. So, in other words, the letter sent by a speedier mode reaches the offer, the acceptee well before time, and both letters of revocation of